I'm going to bring in Rob Alfieri from Adobe to kind of have a conversation with him. It's been a few years, about 3.5 years since Adobe acquired Marketo, and I'd like to kind of get an update on the kind of the product roadmap of where we're at. So, Rob, thanks for joining us today. Can you kind of go over to start our conversation, some of the things that the product team's done over the past few years to merge a best-in-class product like Marketo with that wider Adobe ecosystem that, among other things, has customer journey management, analytics, CDP, project management, you name it, and that wider ecosystem. Would love to understand kind of what Adobe's philosophy is and where they've gone and where they're looking to go.
And I need to squeeze that into 10 minutes, right?
Yep, you do.
Hi, Brandon. It's great to be here. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's really very exciting. When we heard that Marketo was going to be acquired by Adobe, we were relieved and excited, probably because a lot of us have been through product acquisitions in the past, and we've seen what happens to products that are often acquired by larger companies. They kind of get kicked to the curb. That didn't happen with us, thank God. And due to a lot of our own initiative in starting the integrations early with Adobe's Experience Cloud. So one of the things that for me as an IT guy, and I think you guys mentioned I was over 45 years in IT. Yes, I did punch cards at one time, but in watching all of this evolve to me, I became very specialized as a database administrator, database architect. I'm also an enterprise architect. So I look at how things glue together. I look at how information flows, and the struggle that everybody has with a very diverse tech stack for many companies is I've got all these applications and none of them talk to each other. And I try to build ways to share that data by creating data marts and data lakes. But then I have to figure out, how do I activate all this information? How do I share this information with all these different platforms so we all know who our high-value customers are, who we're selling specific products, who already have products we don't want to sell, but we want to cross-sell to in a way that's uniform across all of our ecosystem. And that's a tough thing to build yourself. And so Adobe took a look at that and said, we have Experience Cloud, but we really need to start from scratch and build something from the ground up that can collect all this data and activate it across all these different applications, all the different myriad of channels that we talk to people on today with all these mobile devices and Internet of Things. And you never know, you're going to even, send them a message through their refrigerator, right? How do I coordinate all of that? And so when Marketo got acquired, it was very important that we become an active part of this new ecosystem, which is being called Adobe Experience Platform. And so Marketo feeds its data into the Experience Platform for collection and for analytics, as well as subscribes to that data in order to understand, who's in what segment across all of these different business platforms. So, for example, the first thing that we did, because Marketo is a very open architecture, which me as an IT guy, I'm like, how easy is it to get information in and out of a platform by API? That is the primary way we're moving data around today. That's the primary way we're communicating in real time, transactionally. And so we started by taking our tracking code that we use to record people's views on websites and integrating that immediately with Adobe Experience Cloud's ID system. That enables us to immediately connect a Marketo known person to an Experience Cloud known person. So for customers that are already using Experience Cloud, maybe they have Adobe Analytics, maybe they have Adobe Target. The moment somebody becomes known on that side, they become known on the Marketo side as well. So it's not just dependent anymore on Marketo having that identifying event, which is very exciting, right? Because that means now that I know who they are, now I can start to really target and personalize my messaging to them, as well as my marketing programs and campaigns. So the next thing that became important was audience sharing. So if I segment people in Marketo, how can I share that segmentation with the greater Adobe ecosystem? So how can I share that segment with Adobe Target? So when Adobe Target is doing A/B testing or multivariate testing on my website, I know I'm getting the right people, the right message at the right time. And so that was the second thing we did, is so now Adobe Experience Platform can exchange audience data with Marketo. Marketo can then share that data with Experience Platform, which shares it with Adobe Analytics and Adobe Target, the real-time CDP, which is something new, which we can talk about, a little bit, which is a way to create a 360-degree view of your customer in an actionable profile that everybody can subscribe to. And that way we all have one version of the truth with regards to our customers, right? We know exactly what segments they are in. We know what value they have to us from a sales and services perspective. They know where they are if we're doing location-based selling like the amusement parks do, some of the really big ones who use Experience platform. That's critical in making sure that we can exchange our data as well as be aware of what people are doing in all these different solutions. We have a new product called Customer Journey Analytics, which we're very excited about because it can consolidate all these different data sources, your CRM, Marketo. You might have multiple Marketos, multiple instances serving business units, B2B, B2C, right? Collecting all that information and looking at a customer's entire journey across all of the touches, whether it's your call center, your CRM, or Marketo itself, is now something we can do. That is something that for the last 40 years as a professional in this business, we've talked about, but we never knew how to accomplish it. We didn't have the platform. Building it was so expensive, nobody ever finished it. And so now we have a platform that is being leveraged by Fortune 100 companies, which is Experience Platform to accomplish all of this. I talked about Target, which does multivariate testing and also does product recommendations, Adobe Analytics, which kind of consolidates and does all the activity reporting, Adobe Experience Manager, which is our content management system. We can now select assets out of Adobe Experience Manager for use in Marketo, but we're going beyond that with Workfront. You probably heard about that latest acquisition, which I was actually working with them before they were acquired because they created a whole workflow approval process that could leverage both Experience Manager APIs and Marketo APIs to do asset approval and promotion. So imagine being able to create a content asset, an AEM, run that through all the approval workflows you need to, including legal, and then have that asset published into Marketo for use by marketers and know that the marketers are using approved assets. Very exciting stuff. But it goes beyond that too. It actually goes into managing workflows that can create Marketo programs and actually run them. And that's due, again, to the very rich REST APIs that we have within the platform. So there's a lot of exciting things going on. And all of that has to be scalable because all of this stuff has to be real time now. And as somebody who grew up in IT, you know, billions and millions of transactions. Let me give you some statistics real quick. The Experience Cloud does 14 trillion segment activations a day. That just blows my mind that any IT platform can do that, but it does every day. 600 billion marketing activities per year in Marketo Engage alone. 600 billion. That's insane. 3.3 billion offers delivered a day. 155 billion in GMV, which for those of you that don't know the acronym, I didn't, was gross merchandise value annually. 15 billion web page views and 3.5 million ad opportunities per second using Adobe's Ad Cloud, which I didn't mention earlier, also helps you manage omnichannel advertising, ad spend optimization, and global audience suppression, right? That's real important. So, you know, if somebody's already bought something or they have unsubscribed or whatever, make sure everybody knows that so we're not communicating in a way that may violate some, you know, local regulations like GDPR and, of course, now California. And I think that's going to become a state across the world as well. So I've said a lot. What didn't I cover?
No, I mean, that was a great overview, Rob, and, you know, lots of exciting things happening. You know, maybe to dive into a little bit, I know, like, you know, quarterly Adobe has releases, especially with Marketo. You know, what are some of the Marketo platform releases that are either, you know, have recently released or maybe are in beta stages now that some customers might be interested in knowing about that maybe haven't heard of them yet?
Some that come to mind that have been extremely popular that have released in the last year in 2021 have been something called program custom fields. For a lot of our customers, they would create a custom field on a person record in order to hold form data that might have been filled out as part of a campaign. And you can imagine as I have more and more forms, I start adding more and more fields, it gets kind of messy. So what we did was we enabled customers to be able to create fields are attributes on programs. So if part of a program or a campaign is to have somebody fill out a form, the values that they fill out become part of their program membership record rather than clutter up their person record. That's one thing. Another thing that we did was that we added predictive audiences for events, being able to select an audience based on the success of previous events, and running a calculation that basically says who's likely to attend in order to augment audiences that you might have selected manually. So for a lot of customers, you say, I have an event and I have a target of 2,000 attendees, but I only have 1,500 that have responded. How can I augment that audience? Well, hey, Marketo, go out using predictive audiences, augment me on that audience, send out some more emails to try and get me to that 2,000 based on the people that have responded today, as well as previously, to kind of grab the people that are most likely to respond. In addition to that, there's a lot coming with Sensei, and modeling and scoring that I can't talk about yet, but we're very excited, and that's going to be applied into Marketo's ecosystem here very soon. And lastly, something that's in beta that I can talk about because it is publicly known, and that's something that we're very excited about, and it's called self-service flow steps. And for all of the folks that use Marketo, they already know about the power of the flow step and Marketo's smart campaigns. Self-service flow steps means that customers and our solution partners will be able to augment Marketo functionality using a plugin model that will then add additional functional flow steps to do things like do lookups to outside tables, pull real-time offers into campaign emails, for example, or text messages, and not just for trigger campaigns like webhooks are today. This is going to work for batch campaigns as well. So that's coming towards the end of the year. It's in beta right now. It's looking very good. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, that is super exciting. So as someone who works at Marketo every day, that's great to allow that your customers that flexibility to be able to do that. So really appreciate all the information, Rob. I have one last question, and then we'll kind of open it up for the wider group to ask any questions to us. I know that one of the key pain points I hear from senior leaders is, how do I personalize experiences? I know you mentioned the CDP product a little bit. I know there's a lot of talk out there about the death of first-party data and how we're able to align things, and the Adobe ecosystem does a great job of that. Could you kind of talk about where you see the CDP fitting in, where that's going? I personally feel like that's, kind of where marketing automation was maybe 10 or 15 years ago. That's kind of where things are going to do that multi-channel orchestration. What's the Adobe's philosophy on that, and how do you see that maturing alongside Marketo going forward?
I think the biggest challenge for all of us who have worked in this business is the real-time challenge. It's being able to supply offers in context to where customer sits, whether it's in our sales funnel, whether it's they're located at a specific business at a specific time, like the Macy's shirt department, give me an offer there. Being able to crunch data in real time is a real struggle. So collecting that data, crunching it, and then being able to create what I consider to be actionable attributes that tell me in the moment what I need to know in order to target somebody, whether it's their geolocation, whether it's their specific past buying practices and whatnot, without having to crunch that data in real time, is what the CDP profile is all about. But not just that, right? I talked about Experience Platform being a data lake for collecting all this information. One of the biggest challenges that we all have as IT people is that all these different platforms identify Rob Alfieri differently. They all have unique identifiers, unique keys, they use emails, they use phone numbers, they use physical addresses, right? All of that needs to be rationalized in some way so that no matter what system it is, we know that we can attribute that activity to Rob Alfieri. And so that's one of the things Experience Platform and RTCDP brings to the table, is that identity stitching. All those different identifiers that refer to Rob Alfieri, no matter what they are, multiple emails, et cetera, ad infinitum, become known so that all that activity can be considered and rolled up into the profile, and we have a real, finally, after 40-some years of talking about it, 360-degree view of a customer.
Great. That's so exciting. And I know so valuable to marketers, both in today's economy, but how customers consume data. So, hey Rob, I really appreciate all the information you gave us and the time today. Definitely, we can if you have questions for us, we'll show Rhett and my information. We can definitely put you in touch with Rob if you have a specific use case that you'd like to talk about the wider Adobe ecosystem.